Hey, Tim.
Hey, Greg.
This episode's brought to you by VideoBlocks.
It's true.
What the hell is VideoBlocks?
VideoBlocks is one of the most awesome stock footage sites of all time. I'm a huge fan of it. Have been for a very long time. We use stuff for Kind of Funny Live 1 and Kind of Funny Live 2.
Yeah.
They got stock footage. They got graphics stuff that you can do. They got audio. Pretty much everything you'd ever need if you're a video editor. And a lot of the people out there are. And if you're not, you should try. It's a lot of fun.
So what VideoBlocks is offering right now is an affordable subscription-based stock media site that you can get unlimited access to all sorts of stuff. They have unlimited daily downloads from a library of more than 115,000 video clips, After Effects templates, motion backgrounds, and more. This is great for if you're going to stream, if you're making YouTube videos like us, if you're doing a crazy live event like Tim does. So ladies and gentlemen, VideoBlocks is offering our fans a year subscription for only $99. This is a $50 discount off the usual price tag for our listeners / best friends only. That's less than $10 a month. I don't know what's happening. Get your yearly subscription today for only $99 at videoblocks.com/Greggy. That's VideoBlocks, videoblocks.com/Greggy for this discounted offer.
He's blocking the Greggy. No, he's not.
No, I didn't. Why didn't you tell me that's what you're doing?
Nailed it.
Bwah, 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 bwah. Nick,
Crazy.
what's your topic?
Been going through some stuff lately that I wanted to share with the audience, largely due to some good stuff and some bad stuff. About a few months ago, I got in my head that I wanted to go back to jiu-jitsu. I did it a long time ago, and I quit for reasons that I think were unfair to myself, largely because I discovered that I was intensely claustrophobic. And this is something that I've dealt with ever since. It's one of those things that unlike a lot of other phobias or other anxieties, you can moderate claustrophobia, right? And a lot of people learn to live with these things because you just figure out, okay, that's a crowded elevator. I'm just not going to go in that, right? I'll wait till, depending on how intense it is, you can wait until more people clear out of it. I think you guys have probably seen me at certain points go into elevators and kind of shrink toward the door a little bit because that's sort of my safety mechanism of saying like, well, if shit does go wrong, I'm the first person out of this, which makes no sense. But when your brain is pumping cortisol into your bloodstream, which is I believe it's the fight or flight hormone, you don't really think very well, right? And so it's very weird to me that I don't know why at this point in my life at 36 I've decided to take this on, and I'm using jiu-jitsu as sort of the spear to deal with this, because it's something I like. I love watching videos about it. I love hearing people talk about it. I love seeing it implemented in mixed martial arts. And it just got to a certain point where I'm like, this is breaking my fucking heart that I can't do this because I can't literally physically walk into a jiu-jitsu class without having a panic attack, which is strange. And so I was like, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. So I did some research, found a dude who's a cognitive behavioral therapist, and we've been working together over the last few months to get me to a place that I could start progressing. And I finally have. I've actually started going out to some private lessons and to a couple classes, but it's still really fucking hard. And so I just wanted to, kind of open that up as an open discussion, let you guys ask any questions you might have about that, and just let everyone know out there that this is something that I'm dealing with. Not necessarily not looking for sympathy or anything like that, just something that I wanted to start cataloging this process so that if anyone else is dealing with it out there, they could sort of either share in the comments their experiences or at least learn something from me, because it has gotten a little bit better. And I am able to, it was to the point where I still probably can't ride in the middle of cars, like in the back.
Sure.
Just can't do that. I still have a little bit of problems riding in planes in the window seat. So I usually like an aisle seat, largely because I have to pee a lot, but also because if there's someone big sitting next to me, I feel trapped and I can't get out. And then I'll have to remind myself that if I try to get out of this thing that's 30,000 feet in the air, it will kill everyone on the plane.
Sure.
Can't do that.
No.
Can't do that. Be a better man than that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy, and I think largely the process has been heightened, was heightened originally by poor instruction during the first few classes that I took, because a lot of people's methodology in teaching you jiu-jitsu is to just throw you into the deep end, right? And by the deep end, I mean guys that are the first guy I wrestled against, I had no idea really what I was doing, was 260 pounds and put me in a really bad spot, and I freaked out. And that has conditioned my brain to think that way every single time. So to put it in context, imagine if every time someone shot a goal at you, you freaked out. we wouldn't be able to play hockey, right? But you love hockey, so what do you do? And so that's sort of the situation I've been, no pun intended, grappling with for the last 10 years of my life.
Yeah. So does the claustrophobia, the first experience with it, is it this judo stuff, or did you know about it beforehand?
I'm trying to figure that out right now. Actually, it's one of the things that is kind of an assignment for me. I don't think so. I think that it might go back farther than that, but I'm not quite sure. I can't pinpoint a time that I felt it, that I remember feeling it, other than
this
in
first
jiu-jitsu.
Judo class,
right? Well, jiu-jitsu.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. I just don't want people in the comments to probably it's different things. I'm like,
I
they're
don't
similar
know or
art
care.
forms, but they're technically different. But yeah, I think that was the first time. Like I remember doing it for the first time with an old roommate of mine and being like, this is really, really fun. And then boom, just right when I hit a situation, and people who aren't familiar with jiu-jitsu, there are more dominant positions and submissions where you're in a worse spot.
This is like UFC, right? Like full
very
mount
much
and
like
all
so.
that
Yeah,
jazz.
when someone's mounted on top of you, right? That's a really bad position for you to be in if you're the person on the bottom, because you really don't have a lot of control. Your only real option to defend yourself is to either put your hands over your face or your neck, in this case, to not get choked, or get the fuck out of the position, right? Similar with side mount, which is another position where the guy's like kind of you're laying on you perpendicularly. He can also punch you in the face, and he can do fucked up stuff to your arms, or he can mount you and submit you. There's lots of different ways to submit from both positions, as I'm learning. But that weird feeling of like not being in control for a second somehow lit this weird fuse in my brain that changed the way I react to these situations. And it's very, very weird to not, like, it's a very odd feeling to not be in control of your body like that, right? Which is it's a reason why I haven't dealt with it for so long, is that it's so hard for me to even admit to myself that I can walk into a place, be totally fine, and then for one reason I'll think, hey, I'm not freaking out, and then boom.
Yeah, you're freaking
I'm like,
out.
I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like that perfect example was like maybe like 6 months ago. I was in a Soul Cycle class, and I'd been to so many of these before with my wife. She has dragged me to so many of these terrible fucking classes where they cram you into this dark room with a dude that's sitting right here and another chick that's sitting, and you're just right next to each other, and then they dim the lights and it gets super hot and pulse pounding music starts happening. And I was totally fine until I wasn't. Until I was like, oh shit. And like my wife saw me and she was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I can't leave this class if I wanted to. There's like, I would have to climb over people physically. So I just had to keep my shit together. Which it turns out is basically one of the only ways you can get used to this. And that's the specific like therapist that I'm seeing right now is a person who basically his approach to it is take it little by little, but you have to do what's called exposure therapy, which is you have to start putting yourself in these situations and figuring out these tools and techniques to calm your brain as you're going through them. And it's working. And I think everyone sort of goes through this level when you're in an intense sport like this. A lot of it's mental, but that's what I'm learning is, for the longest time, I thought there's just got to be something wrong with me. But it turns out if you're any sort of athlete that's trying to get to higher levels, I think there's a mental aspect to it that you have to overcome. Maybe it's not as bad, but I'm sure everyone has their shortcomings in that regard.
So then the jiu-jitsu is where you notice it for the first time, that you can remember.
Yeah.
And then it is like you're in an elevator and you're like, this is similar to, and then you're freaking out.
Yeah. So it started to get worse, and that's why I wanted to deal with it now.
Okay.
Because for so long I was fine with it, right? But I don't know if it's an age-related thing. I don't know if it's because my old hips are giving out on me. But it gets to a place where it started getting worse when I started thinking about going back. And then it started getting noticeably worse, right? When I was like, and even having issues with it, like in London, right? Where you get in the tube, you get in the subway, right? And I'm like, this is really a fucking small subway. And then you get in the subway at rush hour. And then it becomes a really small subway train where there's like 40 people crammed in, similar to like, not quite as bad as Tokyo. Nothing's quite that bad, but similar to that. So I don't know. It's just one of the things that I'll probably be kind of checking back in on as we go. Let people know. I have a goal that I want. I was telling Tim this the other day. In jiu-jitsu, they have the way you progress belt-wise is that they give you little stripes on each belt every time that you sort of hit a landmark in your training. And so my goal right now is just get that first stripe, because that will have signified that I was able, like, basically to defend myself on a level where someone somewhere that knows this shit is like, okay, you're progressing.
Yeah.
That to me, like, progression is the single most important thing right now to me on that.
Important, I think, for people listening. How did you find a therapist?
A lot of research. It's weird to. it was a weird roundabout way because I had to figure out what I needed first, right? Because there's a lot of different types of therapy, and I also had to admit to myself that I had a problem.
Sure.
That needed someone else's guidance that I couldn't just fucking man up and get through.
How long did that take?
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
No,
Like,
I
took me to a
understand.
place
I just
where-
didn't know if for a while, like, this is weird that I'm freaking out. Whatever. I'm sure it'll go away.
It's just one of those things where when you're maintaining, I mean, that's almost worse in some regard than when you hit a bottom point, right? Where you're like, fuck, I have to deal with this.
Yeah.
When you're maintaining, it's fine because you can just sort of not put yourself in those situations if you don't want to.
Good
right?
point. Yeah,
Like,
yours. Yeah.
like I don't have to take the elevator to the 3rd floor. I can take stairs, right?
Right.
Like plenty of times at IGN, I looked at that elevator and I'm like, nope. Because assholes would just cram themselves into that old elevator and think it's funny. Hey, what if this? I'm like, how many times have I been in that thing where it didn't work? You guys are idiots. But that's my brain illogically trying to protect me and that overactive sort of control mechanism that's happening. So I would just take the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Planes are the hardest ones, though.
Of course, yeah.
Planes are the ones where we travel way too much, so I had to get over that. And I think honestly, that's why it hasn't gone super crazy because I think having to expose myself and having to figure out techniques to get in there and calm down and relax and realize everything's gonna be fine. And if it's not, let go. That's probably been my saving grace on these. But you know, even to this day, like I'm still, again, I start getting those weird positions and I have to. It's hard though because you are embarrassed to a certain degree, right? You can't like walking into a jiu-jitsu class is probably the most macho thing a dude can do, and like having to explain to your partner that you're about to roll with, hey, at some point, there's a very distinct possibility that I might need to tap your arm, get up and walk out. Don't worry about it. And most people are, to their credit, the people that I've rolled with so far, they're like, no worries, shit happens, right?
Guys, like, I'm not letting go.
But I mean, everyone would let go. Like anyone that's respectful enough in training would always let go. But that's been a hard thing for me to come to terms with. But the fact of the matter is, I want it. I want that one stripe. So
I
gotta
think
be
that's
able to
great.
do
I
it.
mean, honestly, all jokes aside, this just proves life's about communication. And I think that you being able to have that conversation with whoever your partner is, but also to be able to start a conversation, kind of admitting weakness, but more than that, wanting to fix it and wanting to get through it to a
Recognizing
therapist
a
or whatever.
problem.
It's like not even just recognizing, but it's acting on. It's recognizing that you want to fix it and that you're going to take steps to fix it. And I mean, I've seen it in you over the last couple months as you've been going to this thing where it's like, I think that even just knowing that you have a set meeting every week or whatever, that you're going to go do this, that it like that's enough to get you thinking about that instead of the thinking you're okay and then, oh, fuck, you're not okay.
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, I'm going to do this to fix things. And like that, next time you're in a bad situation, it's giving you another thing to be able to latch onto in your head of like, oh, I can talk about this next week. Or
yeah, I mean, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to. Well, I mean, I've shared it with you guys, but I wanted to share it with the audience because I don't think that it's healthy to keep this as sort of some weird secret that I have because I think that people who actually, and again, you know, for anyone out there that's suffering from worse stuff, and there's lots of worse stuff out there, I just feel like me sharing this, hopefully, on some level, will, you know, start you guys down this path too, because it has been very, very, I think, good for me. But shying away from it, I think, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work eventually. So if you're out there, to answer your original question, Googled it and then looked up our health insurance and cross-referenced and figured out, A, who do I need? I was going to go to a sports therapist, but none of them take our insurance. And then finally I thought cognitive behavioral thing. I mean, a lot of people, there's a lot of different things that I could have gone to, one of which would have been like someone who goes in my past and tries to figure out what started this and deal with the issue.
A time traveler.
Exactly. I have a couple. There's one specific one named Marty McFly that I love. But this guy actually has more of a practical approach to it that got me in the class sooner. And he was like, well, if, you know, we can do this the long way, or we can start getting you acclimated to doing this now, so that, because at a certain point, exposure, he was like, you will get it to a tipping point where it'll get better. Like you will get to a point where your body can just react to it and you'll be fine. And, you know, you'll be like, just like everyone else, at least that's the hope. But so I liked this guy's approach. So I decided to go with him, and I've been seeing him for a few months now. And I think it's working.
That's great, man.
Slowly but surely, it's working. With the exception of when I hurt myself and then I'm out for 6 weeks, or I go on vacation and I come back and it's like nothing ever happened. But I would encourage everyone out there to, you know, if you're going through something like this or going through something worse, like please talk to someone about it. Anyone. I mean, someone you trust first. There's no shame in any of this stuff. You know, everyone has problems. Yours just happens to be in your head probably. Greg's is his entire body.
Oh, it's his head.
Oh, it's his head too?
Yeah, it's his head.
Good.
Yeah. No, I respect what you're doing here, and I can sympathize with you a lot. I don't have claustrophobia, which, you know, I think we all do in certain situations, but like I don't want to be buried alive or anything like that.
No, goddamn.
You know, I think it's good and bold and brave of you to be able to tackle it. You know, I have, you know, as people know, terrible fucking anxiety, and so and it does the way it manifests. You know, I wouldn't even go into it because I'm like not even proud of the way it manifests itself. Is embarrassing, like how often it affects my life, but. Acknowledging that it's there or whatever, I think is a huge first step, and actually taking the step to solve it and fix it, I think is a huge, you know, a good second step. So
yeah,
you deserve a lot of credit. And I'm sure you're touching people out there that are gonna, you know, similar to the anxiety topic that I think Greg did a while. I think that this will.
I think I wasn't here for that topic. That was unfortunate too.
But this will.
I would have liked to have talked to you about that.
Yeah,
I probably would have opened up back then too.
But I think that it's good because it goes back to empathy, right? Like, you never know. Like, I always try to remind myself, like, I really try to be polite when I go out and please and thank yous. And even if people are rude to me, I try to not return it to them immediately. I will eventually, but just because it's just because
tenfold at a moment of your choosing.
But yeah, like at a time and place of my choosing. But just because you don't really know what a person's going through, and like for all you know, like you know, there are times where I don't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
And I have to go somewhere, and someone's kindness can really turn my day around, you know? So I get it. And it's difficult, especially when you want to try to do it more with like a homeopathic kind of like down, you know, good old kind of like therapy as opposed to, you know, medicating or doing it. Not that there's anything wrong with that if someone needs to do that, but like it takes a lot of bravery, I think, to, you know, I can empathize with you, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I want everyone out there to know, like, I know there's an aspect of stuff like this to where you feel
Anytime
ashamed.
you want to switch the cam, Kev, anytime.
God bless Kevin. No, it's okay. I mean, I know I recognize this in myself. Like, there is sort of a certain taboo nature to tackling things like this in our society, which is unfortunate because I feel like a lot of people don't get help because we don't talk about shit like this. You know? And I feel
that's
like,
a great point.
I feel like a lot of people, you're told, especially from the generations down, like our dad's generation, that a man's a man. You don't talk about shit like this, and you just man up and fucking don't be a pussy, and which I think is the worst term possible because you never know. Things can be probably easily solved. You can live a happier, healthier life if you just are able to find that person you can connect with that can help you with that. And just putting it on a micro level, I would wager to bet there are plenty of people, and probably people listening to this, that have quit jiu-jitsu because they couldn't deal with this and never told anyone because they didn't want to appear like pussies in front of their class. And I totally get that because it is, again, it's a sport. It's a very fucking macho sport where you're literally trying to kill each other the entire time. But at the same time, it's a shame because it's a really beautiful thing to learn. It's a really cool thing. It's a great thing for your body, unless you're getting hurt, which happens a lot. But it's just a cool hobby to have. And, you know, if you've got something like this that's impeding you, then you kind of owe it to yourself to do something about it, you know, and on your own time, you know, and you don't have to expect it to happen overnight. And it's not going to, but it can get better, and you can enjoy the things in your life that you want to enjoy. You just have to take that initial first step.
Well, good job, Nick.
Thanks.
I'm proud of you.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Thank you. Please, yeah, check in.
Check in 6 months from now. Be a fucking
Kevin, write down a
badass.
note. Add 6 months worth of show to this show's number, and we'll check in then.
Perfect.
Kevin, send me an email with it in case you die, though, okay? So that I know to do it if you've gone and we have a new Kevin over there.
It'll be episode 188, right?
But we're doubling up a lot. Well, I guess we're doing a lot during Christmas break, that we're having 2 episodes a week.
But it's just 26 episodes.
But they're still the same.
Yeah, it's
The
just
time cadence would be the same.
It's 152, right? And 26 episodes? Yeah, 188. There.
188, everybody.
There you go.
Tell us at 187, please, man.
Fans, please tell us 187 because Kevin might not be here anymore.
Sure. Let me know.
Yeah.
Where's Kevin going? Is he going someplace that I don't know about?
Back to Peru.
Back to Peru?
Yeah.
Did his visa
Heaven!
expire?
Keep switching the camera poorly and you're going somewhere.
I was looking at the preview. So
And you're like, I'm nailing it.
Well, I was taken away by, like, you know.
It's great. It was a great topic. It was a great topic.
Beauty of the topic and the shot.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, make sure you head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show early and give you exclusive access and a bunch of cool perks and goodies. If you have no bucks to toss away on Patreon, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we break the entire show up topic by topic, day by day, until the entire thing posts as one big video and MP3 the following Friday. This is a good one. Who are you reading about?
Cayenne?
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
You got the Undertaker on the other side. You're reading about Cayenne?
Justin Hawk Bradshaw, not the Undertaker.
Oh, it's not. I saw from my angle. I saw the hat and a little bit of a leather trench coat.
It's it was in a good guess.